Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man whose wife's infidelity ruined their family. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. Quick background. I had a son when I was 18. Mom got into drugs. I took custody. When he was 7, I met a young lady, 20 at the time, and we quickly fell in love. Had a daughter and got married. Over the years, we've had ups and downs. Now we're real down. As our relationship progressed, we failed to take care of it, and when she was 24, 2008, she cheated and ran out on me. She left for 4 months and then came back. During the time she was gone, myself and the 2 kids did very well after the initial shock and my depression. Of course, it didn't take long to fall back into a rut, and really neither of us worked on the relationship. Never got counseling like we said we would either. In 2011, she went out one night and didn't come home. Didn't call, nothing. She came home the next day, and I knew she had been with another man. She, of course, denied it. After this last event, she admitted it. I knew, she knew I did, and there was never any discussion further about it. Back in February 2013, she called faintly to me from the living room. She had had a severe asthma attack. I barely got out there, and she fell back dropping her breathing treatment mask. She went blue quickly. I screamed for my son as I put her on the floor and started CPR. He called 911. She nearly died on her living room floor in front of the kids. She was in ICU in an induced coma for a few days, then moved to a regular room for another 6. Then in October 2013, she had a bad attack again. This time, I got her to the hospital quickly. They did the induced coma in ICU for a few days again, then another 5 days in a regular room. Both times it was her failing to take care of her asthma. She's been on pain medication for a broken rib from the CPR that won't heal. She takes Vicodin, and I had recently suspected she was abusing it. She was drinking almost nightly, and she's not a drinker. I recently found out from another neighbor she had been getting a lot of prednisone, steroid, from her, claiming she was having breathing problems. About a month ago, I knew something was up. I had seen these signs and behavior in her before. It all blew up one day when I opened the door to go out, and the neighbor guy was walking straight towards the door with a big smile, then saw it was me and turned. With her odd behavior, I confronted her about it. She said she hadn't been with him, though my gut knew different. I wanted to believe her. The neighbor's black, and my wife is racist. I'm not. She said she wanted a divorce. I was blown away. She went to the neighbors that night and spent the night. The guy I suspected she had been with works the night shift, so he wasn't there. And she's friends with the lady who lives there also. The next night, she slept on the couch at my house. The neighbors were concerned the ordeal would cause them disturbance. I'm not sure why I did it, but while she was sleeping, I looked at her phone. She had been making plans for a screw date with the neighbor guy. I woke her up and confronted her, and she admitted she had slept with him, and a big fight ensued. I wanted her out. She wanted me to give her money to leave. Of course I wouldn't. She was screaming and following me around. I locked myself in the car and called her sister to come get her. It was a crazy I'd never really seen out of her. We don't fight like that. The next day I called her. I wanted a signature to remove her from the lease. She told me she was in the ER, so I'd have to go up there to get it signed. When I got there, I quickly realized it wasn't for her asthma. She was under a nurse's watch. She said she wanted to kill herself or someone else, so she had checked herself in. That's when she dropped the next bomb. She had slept with my brother-in-law. WTF. I was shocked disbelief. Neither of these guys are at all even her type. Well, she was admitted to the psych ward, stayed there for a week and a half. Now she's in a 90 live-in mental health home. Yup, you all already knew this. She was diagnosed as bipolar and OCD. So now I'm reading everything I possibly can about bipolar. So many things make sense now. I had always just thought that that's just the way she was. From different things I'd seen and knew when she was acting different. Her mood swings, stages of depression, all sorts of behavior. Saying things like, "Do you hear that?" I always thought I just hadn't heard it, didn't pay it any mind. Yup, hallucinations. She would often relay stories completely different than what really happened. Yup, delusions. We kept in contact through text and a couple calls. She's able to check out for therapeutic visits, so I've taken her to the store to get a couple things, visits in the park. Last week, her demeanor had really changed. She was more like her. She started to say things like she loved me. Maybe we could work through this. Over the weekend, they changed her meds, and she went up again. Strange how the meds were keeping it suppressed. She started to say some mean shit again. Not so much towards me, but like she's never connected with our daughter and often questions her love for her. Heartbreaking. Well, I know 90% of marriages to someone with bipolar end in divorce. God, I love this woman though. Like I said, I'm really trying to educate myself. Just finished the book, When Someone You Love is Bipolar, Help and Support for You and Your Partner. It answered a lot of my questions. I think I'll reread it, or is there a better one? I can't risk my children or my own health. I love her so much though. Even after the shit she did, I know she wasn't in the right state. I know she likely doesn't mean the horrible things she said. I'm just kinda lost with it all. I don't know if when she baselines or is more like herself, if we should talk about future at all. For it to work out is gonna take a duck ton of effort from me, but I'm okay with that, as long as the kids don't get hurt. Is it going to be possible to stop the mania episodes and the cheating? I can't do that shit again. I've always been the protector. I know I can't fix her or even save her, but I can be a caring husband who understands and will help as long as I can safely. And she wants it. What should I do, bipolar SOs? Edit. It's like a lot of the behavior I can get past, the cheating is just devastating though. How did you do that? How did you learn to trust again? Can you trust again? At this point, I'm just lost. Like, I want to help her, and she's so hot, cold, hot with me and our relationship. I don't effing know. She told me she wanted to come pick her up so we could screw. WTF, really? Now, of course, I'm paranoid and wondering if she's trying to get it on with people at the home she's at. Then just the awful, awful things she said. She doesn't love me or the kids. In her eyes, she's never made love, it's always been sex. Well, you can get sex from anyone. Might sound a little girly or whatever, but I do want more from my spouse occasionally. Update. Well, she signed the divorce papers and gave me full unconditional custody of the kids. Breaks my effing heart. I've always loved her and don't know how to stop. Even after all the horrendous shit she's done. Just gotta move on for the betterment of my kids and me. She's in a live-in 90-day mental home, but she can check out for important reasons. I picked her up and we went to the park to sign papers. I dropped her off so she could get into her next group meeting. Not an hour after I dropped her off, she wanted me to tow her car. She had left the home and it broke down on the side of the freeway. WTF? She had just signed away her family and was going where? Well, her water pump on her car has been going out. Her car's probably toast now. She's got no money, no car, no job, no real job history. She's in live-in treatment, so it would be difficult to even get a job. She's burnt her bridges with me and her family. Her parents and sister aren't willing to give her anything anymore either. I love her so much, and I don't know where she's going to end up in this life. I think it's going to be a horrible and short one on this current path. Sadly, this was the right thing to do. You cannot change her. Prioritize your well-being and that of your children. Create distance to protect yourselves from her. If in the future she demonstrates control over her condition and stabilizes her life, then you may contemplate rebuilding a non-romantic connection with her and facilitate the relationship between her and her children. But for her to achieve that, she would need to work on her own self. This is such a shitty situation all around. Good luck. Hugs, that's really heartbreaking, but it sounds like you made the right choice for your family. Don't beat yourself up over any of this. Most people wouldn't have stayed so long to try to make it work. As far as I'm concerned, there are 3 types of people with serious psychiatric disorders. The first type take care of themselves by taking whatever medication they're prescribed, and by seeing their psychiatrist whenever necessary. These people can and often do lead relatively normal lives. The second type take their medication and generally adhere to whatever is advised by their medical specialist team. But for whatever reason, they remain unstable and unable to lead normal lives, despite everyone's best efforts. They have my utmost respect and empathy. The third type are self-absorbed and irresponsible arseholes, who not only refuse to take care of themselves, but use their disorder as an excuse to make decisions which impact negatively on those they claim to love. It appears your wife falls into the latter group, so I suggest you make your decisions in regard to her and your future together with that in mind.